Futa presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Steve, do you want to start the proceedings?
Oh, do I? I can't wait. It's so good. There's nothing to talk about on this show.
I know. I actually was thinking last night, I'm like, I wonder what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And
Oh,
then
me
stuff
too.
happened.
Me too. So, as you all know, the Oilers fired head coach Todd McLellan, and they hired Ken Hitchcock. So I had a terrible idea.
What is it?
Why don't I send out a tweet?
Oh, no. Did you engage Oiler fans?
Oh, no, Adam, they engaged me.
Oh, before or after the tweet?
Oh, certainly after.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's great. Who wants story time? So my tweet, which is great, by the way, it's a good tweet. The weirdest part about the Oilers hiring Hitchcock is he didn't play for them 35 years ago. You see, the point of the joke is they hire a lot of former players. Is
Yeah,
the joke.
I think that's a good joke.
They didn't. So first we got a guy, narrator in Ron Howard's voice. None of the 6 coaches before Hitchcock played for the Oilers.
Oh, you're getting literal.
You see, sir, it appears you are mistaken. And this is not common practice for my hockey team. Thanks, Scott. His name's Scott. Another response.
Is Scott from Canada?
Yes. I'm going to go with yes.
Is Scott a dick?
I
mean,
listen, listen. It was early in Edmonton when he sent it. Time difference is key. So another guy with a Rick from Rick and Morty avatar must have missed the years McLellan, Eakins, Todd Nelson, Ralph Kruger, and Pat Quinn played for them. You have all day to sit around and come up with jokes, and the best you can do is recycle old cliches. The real tragedy here is Greg doesn't know what a cliche is, which makes him a cliche of an Oilers fan. I'm sorry, Oilers fans. I'm sorry. But I'm not! Because this happens every time. Wait, no, I got one more.
Oh, please continue.
One last one, and then we can move on with the show. The weirdest part about the Oilers hiring Hitchcock is he didn't play for them 35 years ago. Carson Gray says, neither did McLellan, you dumb fuck.
Carson told you.
Oilers fans. Always up for a laugh. Always down to have a good time.
You know what would be great?
What?
If more Oilers fans tweeted you. Because I don't think that's going to happen now that you brought them up.
No, but now we're going to get all the friendly ones and they're going to play along. I don't want that. I want genuinely mad guys like Scott and guy who called me a dumb fuck and Rick and Morty. I want them.
Joey Kenward, who is a Canucks host on Sportsnet 650, writes this. In the last decade, these men have been the head coach in Edmonton. 08-09, Craig McTavish. 09-10, Pat Quinn. 2010 through 2012, Tom Rennie. 2012 through 2013, Ralph Kruger. 2013 through 2015, former Marlies coach Dallas Eakins. 2014-2015, Todd Nelson. 2015-2018, Todd McLellan. And Ken Hitchcock in 2018.
I'm pretty sure out of all the guys you just mentioned, let me check. Yes, I am correct. Todd McLellan was the longest tenured coach.
That's crazy. I remember the Pat Quinn year there when he signed on, and I was like, that's an odd fit.
What's the list?
Craig McTavish, Pat Quinn, Tom Rennie, Ralph Kruger, Dallas Eakins, Todd Nelson, Todd McLellan, and Ken Hitchcock.
That's a lot of guys.
There's a lot of guys.
Craig, Pat, Tom, Ralph, Dallas, Todd, Ken.
That's hilarious.
No, we can't fire McLellan because I can't find another Todd to replace him. I want a hat trick.
Todd spelled with 3 Ds. We need it. Find a guy called Todd. Triple the Todd. Triple the coach. Triple the wins.
He's a McDavid of coaches.
Triple the rings.
You really couldn't get more generic with those names.
Oh,
could
man.
you? They needed a Mike.
Oh, Mike?
Maybe a Will.
Is there a Scott in there?
We need a name change. That's what they don't need, a culture change or a roster change. It's got to be Connor McTodd. Todd McDavid.
I saw somebody quote tweet you or quote one of your quotes, I guess, in a tweet. Heart of Lad, I believe he said. The Oilers need new shoes and they fired the laces.
That's I yelled and screamed about that. I think it was in a video in a far away land of like 4 or 5 years ago when the Leafs were terrible. They extended Randy Carlyle but fired their assistant coaches.
I remember that.
And
that
we
was
were
the
like,
season
come
before.
on, change. Come on, change. And they fired the assistants. And it's like, thanks for nothing.
And one of the assistants they hired, Peter Horacek.
That's right. That is right. And then he became head coach. And we had a bad time.
We did. Actually, it's funny. It's sad that we had a worse time under Peter Horacek than we did under Randy.
Yeah, we were like, wait and see. And after about 20 games, we thought, this is a poor.
I can vividly remember
time.
one of my worst takes in hockey history coming out of that time, and I can remember recording with the two of you in my spare bedroom at the time.
You said Sod for Panarin.
Sod for Panarin.
The best trade ever.
And I would make them throw in Anton Forsberg too, just
back
because
then it
I
would have
want to
been
make it fair.
That KHL player, that's a terrible trade.
No, but I remember that was the year actually that Panarin won the Rookie of the Year at 24, and it was 2014. And
no, it wasn't.
Oh, it was the year before that?
No, McDavid was drafted 2015, so he would have won it 2015-16.
Oh, okay.
Year
Fine.
the Leafs finished last.
Fine.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make here is I
just
remember
got Steve.
Yeah.
Steve.
You dumb fuck. I just learned them from Edmonton. Adam, you dumb fuck. Sorry. It's marked explicit. It's your fault.
One of my worst takes in hockey history was, and this was how beaten down we were at the time as Leaf fans, so give me a little bit of leeway here. I'm sure we all had some bad takes, but mine at the time was, well, it's not really fair to judge Peter Horacek based on this team. Like, everybody's injured. Like, Lupul was gone.
And the rest of hockey has decided, yes, it is.
Yeah, really.
Because he has not worked.
You know what? It might actually hold up. Lupul disappeared that year. JVR was injured, I think.
Yeah, it disappeared into like a duffel bag, though.
Yeah.
Like they hid him.
That's right. He was set adrift somewhere.
Yeah, they hid him and then took him to an island and said, go run around and frolic.
So I was like, okay, so it's not really fair to judge him based on this team that's already quit, that's already given up or whatever. And maybe they should keep him on because you don't really know what you have. And that was a bad take.
And then they got Mike Babcock.
Yeah, and that, as soon as Jeff Fayette figured out that the Leafs private jet had left the airport, which, by the way, all-time smart moves. Give Jeff credit for that forever. That was a smart move. He broke that before anybody else. And Mike Harrington almost had an aneurysm.
And Twitter took flight. You see?
Wow.
Yeah, Babcock said, sorry, Detroit, got a jet.
What did he say to Buffalo?
I'm just in such a good mood. I'm sorry.
What did you say to Buffalo?
What did he say to Buffalo? He didn't answer the phone because it's Buffalo. Kick rocks.
Wow.
I'm in a good mood.
It's okay.
It's talking shit. I know they're doing well. I don't care.
Bad things happen to Edmonton, and you get juice running through your veins, right?
Yeah.
I think it's
Edmonton's coffee and that we're recording midday.
Edmonton is tough on Steve, I think.
Are they? No!
Great comment, you dumb fuck!
You dumb fuck. Hey, listen, we're mad because, like, our team sucked for a long time. So is mine! You're not special! Smile! Damn it!
12.
We spent all summer ripping on the Habs! We've been ripping on the Sabres for years! The Senators were our punching bag for a solid 18 months!
Were?
Put on a smile!
Still.
Smile! Laugh!
I just think it's funny that, you know, every 2 to 3 years, the Oilers make a management change.
No, they don't!
Coach or GM.
Coach.
And it yields little to no result. And what I'm interested about on this one is because so Peter Chiarelli said a couple things at the press conference today. A, Ken Hitchcock has a deal that takes him through the end of this season, and that is all they're going to reevaluate at the end of it. Strangely enough, I believe Chiarelli's number is up at the end of the year as well. And I don't mean that he's going to be fired. I think his contract might be expiring as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mark Spector did tweet, though. He said, listen, whether or not that's true, Mark Spector said, that's the perfect time to reevaluate your coach and your general manager. Hitch is already retired, so that might be just a guy like, hey, just steady the ship, see what we can do here, let's see what we have. Are we rebuilding or are we not?
Mid-season GM changes are rough. They're hard.
Like if you,
it's early, but
if you've seen the track record that you've seen with Chiarelli, do you not change the GM because you don't have an option lined up yet?
well, everyone's been. Well, there could be that, but everyone's talking about. I saw a tweet like this might be Chiarelli's like last bullet. You know, this might be his last thing that he's got. But what about the guy above him? Like, what about anyone else in that gaggle of guy from the 80s?
Bob Nicholson has, strangely enough, avoided any criticism at all, at least outside of Edmonton. I don't know if there's been any
I'm sure.
Is there criticism of the team in Edmonton?
Oh, yeah.
Is there?
Yeah, it's just...
You wouldn't know.
You can't buy it.
Oilers media types calling out the head coach of the Calgary Flames in media shuffles and stuff like that.
Well, that one was great. Like, oh, well, the roster's flawed. And then, like, oh, you can't fire Chiarelli. That's ridiculous. What? I don't get it. I just listen here. Enjoy. Have fun with your garbage day.
But what will be very interesting is to see what Hitchcock can do. Because here's the thing: he's a dump and chase, defensive-minded coach, and I'm a little curious about how he's going to play this style. However, sometimes those types of coaches are great with lesser skilled teams, and let's be honest, beyond 2-3 players, it's not a very skilled Oilers team.
Yeah,
we know that.
If he can manage the depth of the team, which is the huge issue, the top line is fine. They're really good. So if he can manage the issues there, he's a defensive-minded coach, and they got some personnel back there. They got a goalie who's got a track record of success. Hasn't been very good for, I don't know, the past 18 months or so. Koskinen's been okay. If he can just motivate the team, like sometimes all a coach needs to do is be a good motivator. That was said about Pat Quinn, perhaps unfairly, for a while, but they were like, "Oh, that's why he's perfect for Team Canada." You know, you don't got to teach those guys the X's and O's. All you got to do is kick them in the pants a little bit. So Hitchcock could be a match in that regard. And the one thing I will defend the Oilers and Chiarelli regarding is everyone's like, "What? Did they forget Joel Quenneville exists?" No. It's okay. Imagine where are you right now? Okay, if you're at home, imagine someone knocked on your door and was just like, "You work for Home Depot now." Like, that's not how it works. You have to agree to work at Home Depot. You gotta
I think it's the same thing.
It's the exact same thing. Hey, no, you're the new regional manager for Home Depot. We like your spunk and we need you.
Yeah.
What? No, I don't want this job. Yeah, well, a bunch of guys on Twitter said you'd be the ideal candidate to be the regional manager for this Home Depot.
Home Depot. Yeah.
I do believe impressment into service is illegal.
I believe so.
I don't think you can do that.
That's a word I've never heard before.
What
and
is
I'll just have
Impressment?
Impressment. It's a real term.
He made that up.
That's an impressmentive. Impressmonton. That's what they're going to do for the rest of the season.
That's our name right there.
Impressmonton Oilers.
Chiarelli did say they've got lots of runway left. The expectation on this team is to make the playoffs.
Which is just, can you bring up the standings? That's an attainable goal.
I don't think
what are they, 3 wins out?
Yeah,
it's the Pacific.
November.
And it's November.
Also, 12 of the last 13 years they haven't made the playoffs, so we'll see how that goes.
I am aware.
They are currently sitting at 19 points, which is, and Dallas is at 24, which is 5 points back.
Now,
the last
yeah, so they got to leapfrog 4 teams to get into a playoff spot.
Let's see how the division is.
Go up 3 points.
Yeah.
I don't think that's not going to be too hard for them to do, although it is hard to do.
If they
look at this. Yeah, no,
they're actually only 3 points out of a playoff spot because they're
because of Vancouver's
at 22. So
they can do that.
So there you go.
Calgary 25, San Jose 25, Vancouver 22, and then
21,
19, 19.
Calgary
with 3 games in hand.
Calgary with their bad goaltending is number 1 in the division.
I know.
That's amazing.
It's the worst division in hockey.
It's so bad.
It's very surprising. And the central, like, you could pretty much flip upside down, and that's what I thought it would be. Except for Nashville and Winnipeg. And you know what? Never mind.
Okay, but, so it's not that. Definitely not
it's
that.
Strong though.
Anyway, except for the teams on the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
If you flip
except for the basically Minnesota is where I thought they would be.
Well, you hate Minnesota though, so you're biased against them.
Yeah. Damn. Caused the lockout.
Chuck Fletcher made you work for the KHL. That's my favorite.
Anyway, Vancouver's in a playoff spot and they're under 500.
Oh my God, they are.
The Leafs made the playoffs under 500,
They're in a divisional playoff spot.
Yeah. That's how bad the Pacific is.
Yeah, no, they're under Bettman 500.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, not regular 500.
They are 10, 11, and 2. Okie
Do you
dokie.
really think, though, if you're Joel Quenneville and you're taking shots at Chicago Bears games, and Chicago's a cold city, right? It's not like Joel Quenneville's afraid of the cold, as a lot of people claim in hockey. Somehow
everyone can do recreational cold.
Yeah, that's true.
fun.
I don't think the cold is why people are wanting to stay away from Edmonton. I think the management structure is why people are wanting to stay away from Edmonton. And I don't think,
Why not both?
based on what we've heard of Joel Quenneville, I don't think that he wants to be a part of a team that has to rebuild like he believes and like we all believe Edmonton does. And I don't mean a full strip down rebuild, but I do think it's going to take some major, like you gotta do something. You gotta clear some of this stuff out. You got a lot of dead cap space there. Now,
Man,
the
he should. I think he should just take the year off.
take your money and run.
And then you're one of like maybe 5 guys who like people will change their plan to bring you on board.
Well, and that's
Just take the year off.
what I was
and
saying
have fun.
to Jesse was, okay, so Coach Q wants to go and coach a winner. But who's firing a coach?
Who's a winner? Who's
a winner that's firing a coach?
They also have to pay him at least $6 million. Else he
Yes.
gives up that
or
$6
that
million.
or that piece. So if they
Yeah.
want to pay him 2, Chicago will have to pay him 4 or something like that, which they'll do.
Wait, I think it'd be closer to the opposite, but yeah. It's just not going to work that way. No, he's Joel Quenneville. Like, the world's his oyster.
If he sits out for 18 months, which I believe is the remainder of his deal, his value's not diminished.
No, I wouldn't say to sit out the whole thing, but like just this season. Just this season. See what your options are.
I believe. It's funny. I think the next guy to go, but I keep saying this, is Randy Carlyle in Anaheim. But I think the fact that they're injured to hell right now might actually protect him, because the GM can look at that and go, well, I mean, he doesn't really have his full team, and he doesn't.
What is it
And they
about-
made the playoffs last year, and they did.
Why do all Randy Carlyle teams look the exact same? Well, you can't fire him because everyone's injured. In the meantime, the goalie has to do everything. Stop me if you've heard this before,
I've
folks.
heard it
Like,
before
stop
a
me-
few times.
Yes.
So anyway, interesting night in Edmonton, and there's more interesting things we have to talk about. But first off, Selly season. It's hashtag Selly season with Budweiser, and especially if you're an Oilers fan right now, you need a reason to celebrate. So we want to encourage you to join us, to tag Budweiser Canada, to tag the 3 of us, and to show us your Selly in your living room, or maybe you're at a game. Maybe
Whoa.
is it Rogers Place? That's Edmonton?
Yeah.
No. Rogers Place is Edmonton?
Yeah. Maybe.
And there's Rogers Arena in Vancouver?
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
there's Rogers
You're getting
Center
it
in
right.
Toronto? All
Yeah.
right, hey.
You got it. Way
One
to
of the-
go.
Yeah, hey.
And then there's
Hey.
Calgary that is frequented by a man named Roger.
It's true. There's several Rogers that attend Calgary games, I would
Season
assume.
seat holder Roger.
And then there's the Scotiabank Arena, which is half owned by
By
Rogers.
Rogers.
Strangely enough.
There
wow.
you go.
Roger Impressman is his name.
Impressmonton.
Impressmonton. So use the hashtag Selly season. Show us how you celebrate. And if you want to get one of these cool... Jesse, can you reach over there and get the... Or Steve.
I can.
Budweiser Red Light.
He's closer.
If you want one of these and you want to give them to somebody for Christmas, because they make a really sweet gift, they hook up to your Wi-Fi, they scare your dogs whenever the goals are scoring, whether
No,
you're
they
watching or not. You can go to Budweiser.ca, use the code Dangle, and you get $5 off. Imagine
Somebody cue this up
Hey, you don't need Zack Hyman scores!
with words.
Jack Edwards, Boston.
No, that's a goal. A goal is a happy thing.
No, but if it was Jack Edwards calling it, he would be like, "This is the greatest goal of all time. This player is better than Gretzky."
Here comes the next Yari Curry. Sean Corrali scores!
So you can play this game in your house too. Which announcer am I?
You've done it, Lanny.
There you go.
You've done it. You've done it, Corrali. You've done. I just wanted to pick an obscure Boston name. Boy, are they in trouble.
They sure are.
I guess you're getting to them later.
We'll get to them later. But first,
Are we going to mention the other coach change?
did Mike? Yeah, that's where I was going. Did Mike Yeo own himself?
Mike Yeo. Is it Yeo or Yo? I think it's Yo, and I've been yelled at
Mike Yeo.
before. Yeah, Mike Yeo. Well, how do he own himself?
He called his own firing 5-10 games into the year.
Yeah, and what's amazing is 3 coaches got fired before him. Or no, that's not true. McLellan went after him, technically.
Several hours
Yeah,
later.
like the second-born twin. Yeah, poor. I mean, he tried to protect his team. I guess that's what a good coach does sometimes. The Blues, to me, are the most. Someone asked today. I want to say it was Jeff O'Neill. Like, which team who's fired the coach is most likely to turn it around? It's got to be St. Louis. I still don't understand why they're bad.
I don't understand that either. I almost think that, like, to me, it's always goaltending with St. Louis.
For good or bad.
Good or bad.
Yeah, good or bad. Wow, Jake Allen's bad. Wow, Jake Allen's really good. Wow, Brian Elliott's really bad. Wow, Brian Elliott's...
And it's funny how the team's success sort of correlates with that. They have so much talent up front. They have so much talent on defense.
They're going to get Pecorine next. Like, just a goalie who, from night to night, you're like, I don't know, might be a Vezina guy.
Bobrovsky, too.
The worst.
Bobrovsky's season to season, though.
Yeah.
He'll have a bad season, and then he'll like have 2 or 3 Vezina-worthy ones in a row. So we'll talk about him later. I know we got a lead game to talk about.
Because last year, I was reading this earlier, the Blues, they lost 5 of their last 6 games to miss the playoffs by 1 point.
Ooh.
If they win any one of those 5 games, is Mike still fired?
No. Wow, they did?
Yeah. So
I forgot it went down that way.
There's 6 games left.
Oh.
And they missed the playoffs by losing 5 of those 6 games.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And wasn't Colorado just like, we won't be denied?
Yeah.
And like they were just winning every game down the stretch. It was like the Leafs with Tampa nipping at their heels a couple of years ago. Like, no! And it sucked because the Leafs had to win because we knew Tampa was just going to win out.
Mm-hmm. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I must stop you.
Did something happen?
Jonathan Willis, The Athletic. This is probably already out there, but Peter Chiarelli said today that although other names were considered for the coaching job, Hitchcock was the only person they spoke to.
Well, there goes your theory.
I mean, it could also just...
They didn't even call Joel Quenneville? Like, I would have called him. I'd been like, hey, Joe, I know this is super not going to happen.
No. See, no, you're extrapolating at him. They said Hitchcock was the only candidate they spoke with. It's entirely possible Quenneville just let it go to voicemail. It's entirely possible. It's interesting. I mean, I wondered out loud if McDavid would be the type of player that would make him go, well, I know it's Edmonton, but... And apparently Hitchcock decided he'd come out of retirement to coach McDavid, and why not? Why not?
Is that to play the Tim and Sid game, cut or uncut? Is it cut that he retires in fucking April and is back working in November?
Yeah, Ken Hitchcock is the Floyd Mayweather of
He's the Brett Favre
of hockey coaches.
Yeah.
Brett Favre.
He'll be out in his backyard taking pictures in his
Like, that's
Crocs.
kind of cut, right? You don't just retire and leave a team and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's a job open.
Yeah,
I think there was no like goodbye tour or two pecked for Ken Hitchcock.
H2Pact.
Ken
Hitchpact.
Hitchcock. Doesn't work. I tried.
Yo, that might be the episode title right there.
It is not.
Hitchcock.
No.
Come on, that's got to be it, right? Not Hitchcock.
That was...
That's great.
I didn't even realize. As it came out, I'm like, nope.
I've had a few moments like that on this show, too. Craig Berube will take Mike Yeo's place in St. Louis. Larry Robinson's going to join him for the first few weeks as a skills coach. Not really sure what that's going to do, but...
He's highly praised.
Sure.
Around the league.
But we'll see what happens in St. Louis. I do think...
Larry Robinson, that is.
I do think that St. Louis is interesting because obviously Joel Quenneville's got a history there. It seems as though that they're not interested in him, though, because they seem to be very interested in what Craig Berube can offer, and that's why they kind of put him in there. The sense I was getting from the people that reported on the story, it was like, no, this is our new guy. Mm-hmm. This is, he'll wear the interim tag, but we fully
That's
expect...
what everyone's got to say. Like, you can't just be like, look...
No, but I don't.
Some schlub.
With Hitch, they don't. With Hitch, it's like, I mean, they hired him very clearly because it's like, we need a steady force to steady this dressing room. He'll be gone at the end of the year, and he knows that, and they know that.
Just don't say that. I just don't know why, unless. I was about to say unless it's an old coach on his way out, which I guess Hitchcock is, but you just brought him in, so it's a little different. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Just you always got to be like, no, this is our guy.
You could always
for the time
add.
Being, this is our guy.
I mean, if you wanted to keep Hitchcock on for his expertise, you could always add him to the 80 experts they already have.
Oh my goodness.
He didn't play for the 80s Oilers, but you could always consult with Gretzky or Coffey or Lowe or Messier or
McTavish is still there. I'm pretty sure
McTavish.
he might be. I don't know. But Hitchcock wasn't a player for them in the 80s. You dumb fuck. Sorry.
I do think St. Louis, if I'm going to pick a team that's going to make the playoffs out of those two, it's St. Louis all day, every day. They just got to get a goaltender.
Tough thing for them, though. Like, they could have a better season than Edmonton and still miss the playoffs. The Central is just a murderer's row, and the Pacific is kind of open.
Yep.
Do you look at any of the guys they added and say bad moves now? Because it was
like
Ryan O'Reilly,
St. Louis,
Bozak, Pat Maroon, and David Perron.
Well, I thought first off, I think Pat Maroon was a steal because he didn't
wicked money.
Yeah, they got him for wicked money, and he's like, all these guys are getting these contracts, and I got $1.5 million.
It was or like $2 or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
nothing. You got him on a hometown discount, and a guy that just I think ran out of time. I think Bozak was a good pickup for them because he's a good third center. I thought
expensive.
$5
million.
But they gave and they traded a bunch of spare parts for O'Reilly. Like Tage Thompson wasn't getting ice time. Sabatka and Berglund were sort of. I mean, they've been good with the Sabres for sure. But I think sometimes people expire on teams, right? They're just like, okay, it's time to move on. And I think that's what with Berglund and Sabatka, they probably needed to change the scenery. I would do that trade again in a heartbeat.
I was gonna be like, well, should we maybe put more stock into the fact that O'Reilly was like, I don't really like hockey anymore, like when he was with Buffalo. But
would you?
Well, no. But also, like, he hasn't been that bad. Where do they rank in like goals for and goals against?
O'Reilly, by the way, 10 goals. 13 assists, 23 points in 19 games.
He's one of the better offensive producers in the league.
He's a great center, and he wins like 65% of his faceoffs.
Yeah, and
that's a guy you want.
Yeah, his offensive production, while usually good, isn't even like his thing. He's always praised for his two-way game.
And St. Louis in goals for, they're 24th.
Ooh.
So that's not
and
good.
Goals against, they are 21st. So not good.
Bad on both fronts.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe coaching is the answer then. I don't know.
Interesting.
It is interesting that they traded away a lot of spare parts, and it sounds like they're maybe having a little bit of issue with depth scoring. That's very surprising to me. That's very I thought they were a top 5 cup contender. It's November, but that's tough.
Their power play is pretty good. They probably just need to. I mean, they're top 10 in the league on power play.
What's that PK at? I've heard things about their PK.
It's an 80%.
Yes, but
PK went down last night, by the way.
PK Subban.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You missed that, yeah.
It's top 15 in the league. It's
not
not bad.
interesting. I heard it's actually bad. Anyway.
Anyway,
I thought they would be much better. Maybe a coaching change is exactly what the doctor ordered. I don't know if that's the guy.
I wondered that mostly with Edmonton, though. Like, I legitimately don't think the Edmonton Oilers are good enough to make the playoffs. I think unless Cam Talbot goes on a run or Mikko Koskinen, whatever, fine.
But I wonder. Is bad.
I wonder if can the coach actually make that much of a difference. My thinking is no, but if they do make the playoffs, what a story.
You know, there is something to the idea that they need a damn save.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, they are a bit of a one-line team. They could use a save.
Yep.
You get league average goaltending every night. They're probably in a playoff spot right now. And probably haven't fired their coach yet. Coaching can be brought all the way back to goaltending every time.
I wonder for Todd McLellan, he'll obviously take some time to sit, but I don't think he's long for being out of the league.
No?
I think despite what's happened in Edmonton, and I would be one of the people that to do this, I don't think he did a great job in Edmonton.
No.
But
and a lot of Oilers fans who wanted Chiarelli gone instead were like, well, he should have gone too.
Right. I mean, I think it was time for him to go. I'm just going to change up here because my bum's numb. But I think...
You're going to sit like a cool teacher?
I am.
Like
cool
Captain
kids in the 90s.
So, you want to do a podcast.
I think that in this particular case, I think there's going to be a lot of people, and I would look at this too. If I'm a mid-level or mid-market team, I wouldn't put him in a big market, but I would put him in like a mid-level, mid-market team. If this was last summer, I would say, hey, Carolina, Todd McLellan, pick him up. This is a guy that's coached teams well into the playoffs. He's a good coach. He's got a good background and a good sort of eye for, at least seems to have a good eye for what the game can become if you've got the right players. Took them to the seventh game of the second round a couple years ago when they actually had a really good team. I wonder if Todd McLellan is a guy that makes a huge comeback. I would look at him like, okay, he's not damaged goods. That management structure, that style, there's too many cooks in the kitchen in Edmonton. He was never allowed to play the team the way he wanted
don't know how to
it kept
cook.
and they kept getting worse.
Yeah.
So, what? They were kind of, instead of lifelines, they were kind of throwing him grenades.
It's interesting because one of the main criticisms I heard with McLellan is he's bad with young players. So maybe he goes to an older team. St. Louis might fall into that. But another interesting thing from the Edmonton angle is they sent down a few key players. I can't remember if Kyler Yamamoto, is in the minors or in junior.
Bouchard is, though.
Bouchard's in junior, so he can't be called up. Puljujarvi. So I wonder if they call him back up. I know they sent him down to get reps, but I wonder if they call him back up to see how he is with Hitchcock. Because if he works with Hitchcock, keep him.
I wonder, too, when they say coaches are bad with younger players, in a league that's getting younger, and this will contradict everything I just said about McLellan, but in a league that's getting younger, what place do you have in it? You better start learning, pal, because that is the league. The league is pre-31 now.
Yeah, Babcock, with the Leafs has been combative with some of them, and there was obviously, the rumors about him with Matthews, but for the most part, he's gotten results out of those guys, out of all the young guys. And, it's I think it's a lot of ego massaging and a lot of, I don't know what it is exactly. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with hockey. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Well, you're growing up.
You're growing up, man. You're growing up,
man. I actually got the chance because I was at the Leafs game last night doing a profile on Paul Hendrick, and
how was that?
it was cool. So we follow him around.
You wore a tie.
Went to the gondola. Yeah, had to. Went to the gondola, the media gondola, and everything, and then I got to go to the room where they do the press conference afterwards. And saw Mike come out and do the press conference, and it was the shortest press conference I've ever seen.
Did you ask a question?
No, I could
Should have asked a question.
There was only like 2 questions asked. It was
His
crazy.
pressers are really short this year.
And
I
if-
don't know what's up with that.
Well, and if people don't ask questions, okay, see you.
Yeah, he did a presser the other day where he actually said "KC," but someone asked a question in the middle of him saying it, so he had to stay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're real quick because I watch them after every game. I love the Leafs YouTube channel, and they're all like, man, it's a struggle to get them over 3 minutes.
It's interesting.
Wow.
Man, I wonder if
It's odd.
if that's a strategy. It must be. Everything with him's intentional.
Maybe.
He's an intentional guy. I think he's probably just trying to cut it down.
I don't know. I don't have patience. I don't know. You gonna ask me the same questions again?
Basically. And yeah, so I think it was kind of cool to see him do that. I forget where I was going with this, but I wondered actually while he was talking. We see one side of him in the media and that sort of thing, but what is he really like to play for if you're a young guy? He's got to be a little bit intimidating. He did talk about before the game, because he did give a pretty good press conference there too, that he talked to Kapanen recently and talked about aspects of his game that he needed to work on. I wonder what a conversation like that looks like, and I wonder if guys like McLellan, there is that ilk of people out there that don't believe those conversations need to happen. You should know already.
Hands off.
Yeah.
And then the players coach.
Right.
And stuff like that, all those things you hear. Babcock, not to take it away from McLellan again, but he said something interesting about Kapanen. I thought, and he basically said, well, he wasn't this good in the American League.
Yeah, he did say
Which, yeah, he was.
I think
I thought so. Anyway.
he said he didn't look this good. I wonder.
I think maybe it was at both ends of the ice sort of thing. I don't know. What a dart last night for the second goal.
Well, hold on that.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
sorry,
going there. We're not
sorry.
going there. I do want to say,
I was distracted because Charlie barked. And I'm like, there's intruders.
watch out for the Buffalo Sabres.
Man.
Watch
Wow.
out. Watch out. It's happening. They're turning it around.
Now,
God forbid the Jeff Skinner trade was an amazing trade, and the Carolina Hurricanes, who still can't score a goal, traded the guy who scored goals.
bringing it back to the Oilers, been calling for management change for a long time. The Habs are having a good season. The Habs went out and did stuff.
Yep.
We didn't agree with all of it, but they went out there and Bergevin tried a couple things. The Sabres, bad for a very long time. Botterill took a year, looked around, in the summer, kaboom, did a whack of stuff, a big old bunch of stuff. Go look at a bunch of the teams from around the league where you're like, where is this coming from? A lot of them went out and they tried stuff. We didn't like all of it, but it was something. Mm-hmm. The Oilers went out and got Koskinen,
Tobias Reeder, Kyle Brodziak. I believe that was it.
And Strome for Spooner.
Oh yeah, well, recently.
Like,
yeah.
you got to be kidding me. It's not enough. It's not enough. Like Bergevin made some risky moves. And with a mixture of those moves and some youth, they're playing well. That's all.
And 3 first-round picks this year.
Do they?
The Sabres, they got St. Louis.
Oh, the Sabres do. Wait.
Yeah. St. Louis, San Jose, and their own.
Wow. That's a coup. Good for them.
The St. Louis one could be high.
Oh, the San Jose one because Kane resigned.
Kane resigned, yeah. They got that pick. Yeah.
That's a good provision
That
to
won't
put
be
in.
a great pick, but that'll be a first round. It'll be in the 20s
It's
somewhere.
in the first round.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. It's in the first round. It's a lottery pick.
There you go.
Not like lottery pick, but like they're like lottery tickets. That's amazing.
Imagine they missed the playoffs. Are any of the... Oh, wait. So, sorry. I saw someone on Twitter said the best part about the O'Reilly trade for the Blues was that they lottery protected the first.
Yeah, it's top 10, so they have the
Top
choice
10.
of, if it's in the top 10, they could divert it to next year's, the 2020s.
I can't believe they're
either
this
way,
bad.
they're going to get a first-round pick.
Woo.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
If a coaching change doesn't do anything, I don't really
I don't know
think
what
it's
to
time.
say in St. Louis. Yeah.
I don't know what to say. They should be good. They should be good.
Well,
Can you look at the roster?
man,
I
it's
just want to see
goaltending.
who's expiring.
Goaltending. I mean, that's what it is. Take your firsts and go get a goaltender. You're fine.
Take it and
Or
go.
draft and
Man,
be really
a
good.
ton of RFAs. No UFAs, really. They just got Bouwmeester and Gunnarsson.
And
That's it. Wow.
And Chad Johnson as their backup. Like, you're not going to make a whole bundle at the deadline. Man, if a coaching change doesn't do it, go out and add.
Yeah, but how do you not succeed when your top 2 lines are Tarasenko, O'Reilly, Steen, Schwartz, Shen? Like, that's pretty good.
Maroon's on IR, and I think they had a couple other guys on IR to start the season. I don't get it. I don't get why they're bad. I didn't get why Vegas was good either. We should end the podcast. We should stop.
We don't know what we're talking about.
No. But you knew that. You knew I was a dumb fuck. Come on, everybody.
I think one of the most fascinating deals this summer was the Jeff Skinner trade.
Yeah, the Sabres improved without giving up a single part of their roster.
Literally anything. And it was funny because
3 picks in Cliff Poo.
what was interesting about that is that not only did Carolina trade Jeff Skinner, but they totally killed Jeff Skinner's value before they traded him.
I didn't know he was this good still.
Okay, but if you look at his results, the guy's always around 25 goals.
He's very consistent. Generally speaking, he's very consistent.
And he's probably having a great season because this is the first time, honestly, like, who's Jeff Skinner played with that's a legit superstar?
Ever. Carolina?
Ever.
Nah, I got nothing.
Yeah. So he's with
Jordan Stahl!
So he's with Jack Eichel, a legitimate superstar.
Yep. Absolutely. And what a win. 4-1 leads. Not so easy to defend, are they, Pittsburgh? Ha! Yuck it up. I know you did. Nah, I feel bad. Penguins fans are hurting.
You do?
Oh,
you
they
feel
don't
bad for
remember
Penguins
how
fans?
to handle it. They don't remember how to handle it, and they're crying. There's a great... I love inter-team civil wars, and there's a great one going on right now in Pittsburgh.
Oh, let's hear
great
it.
one.
What's happening?
Well, there's the... they have such a... There's like a blended one that's, we've won a bunch recently, and, we won a bunch recently after starting the season shitty. So there's that.
Like, things are trending up.
Yeah, like, don't worry about it. And then there's the fans who just are beside themselves because they don't remember how to lose.
Are they the trade everybody crowd, or are they just...
Fire everybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't want to
And trade everybody. And burn your jersey. What have the Penguins done for me lately? Nothing. They're not the reigning Stanley Cup champions, so I'm miserable. That's what the temperature seems to be in Yinzer country right now.
Just go back to Jeff Skinner for a second. He's on pace for 57 goals,
That might
which
slow down.
I think will slow down.
Maybe.
But he's off to a hot start.
Apparently, to keep him off the free agent market, Buffalo's asked, "What's your price?"
Oh, this is great.
He said,
Not right now.
8 years, 9.5 per.
That's great, man.
Tyler Seguin money. Tyler's.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
no.
I would if I was Buffalo, I would call. It's it's Jim Nill in Dallas. Who's the?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd call Jim Nill and thank him because there's absolutely no way you give Jeff Skinner that much. Even though he's a great scorer and he's very consistent and he's overcome. Early on in his career, he had like some serious, like career-threatening head injuries.
Yeah.
That's a guy that's come back and come back and come back, and I mean, he's a great player, but he's not $9.5 million player. There's no way.
He's
Came
on
into the
pace to
league.
be that. Right.
One time.
This season.
Right now on this day,
Yeah.
if he scores 86 points like he's projected to.
No, you gotta to get that kind of money. You can't just do it once. You got to do it a bunch of times. Like Tyler Seguin has done that a bunch of times. Jeff Skinner has made. I mean, he can look at Evander Kane's contract and be like, "I deserve at least that." I think he can look at like what Kane got in JVR, which I think are identical contracts, and be like, "I deserve roughly that."
I think that's fair.
Maybe a little bit more, and you go high in negotiations, so maybe you say 8.
Yeah, because the cap percentage has gone up.
8.5.
So you say, hey, the cap percentage, that's the same deal as Kane got last
You
year.
say something like that, but like you haven't been Tyler Seguin, like not in terms of production. You haven't, not consistently, and not for long enough. And you're not a center. I just no. I wouldn't. He's a great player. I'll take him on my team for that money. You're nuts. No.
But if you're him, you are also asking for that money because what if they say yes?
well, what if they say yes? They gave
Couldn't
it
hurt,
to
right?
They gave it to Eichel before. Like does he have a 30-goal season yet? And they gave it to him. They're paying for future money. I have a feeling that contract's going to end up looking pretty
But
good.
he might, Steve.
He might.
He just might.
This reminds me of William Karlsson last year, who scored 43 goals after scoring 6 the year before.
Yeah.
He turned down a long-term deal, by the way. He left a lot of money on the table and only signed for
He
one.
currently has 5 goals and 12 assists, 17 points.
in 22 games, which is
That's not
Yeah,
bad.
it's not 43 goal
but
pace,
that's a $5 million player.
Yeah.
Which is what he's making.
I just
He's
don't understand
not-
how he scored 43 goals. Then I never will.
he's not terribly off his pace from last year. Goal scoring, yes. Points, no. Yeah, that'll be a real interesting deal.
So will Max Pacioretty at the end of the year. What are they going to do with him?
Yeah.
Underrated storyline. He has not been good. I know he was injured for a bit. Jesse, can you bring up his stats? I was stunned the other day. I want to say in 17 games, 3 goals, 2 assists.
Mm-hmm. The biggest mistake the Golden Knights made was not giving Ottawa whatever they wanted for Karlsson. I will remain steadfast on that.
I think he scored last game. 18 games, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points. That is just not good enough for Max Pacioretty, man. And they gave up a lot.
Bergevin had a good offseason.
He did, man.
Yeah, he did.
He did. You know what?
Also, though, it helps that everybody who's come in and played is playing some of the best hockey of their career.
Oh, Max Domi is easily playing the best hockey of
And
his
ta-ta!
entire career.
He's also
I'm
he's been
happy
great
for him. I'm
Yeah.
happy for Thomas Tatar because I know everyone made fun of that trade right away. They gave up too much. But then, like, when he was a healthy scratch in Vegas, I'm like, okay, no. He's not healthy scratch bad. Stop. Like, I'm sorry, when did that happen? No one told me Thomas Tatar was washed. I thought he was at least like a middle 6 player on most teams. He goes to Montreal and he's doing a good job. Maybe he's one of those players, sort of like Thomas Plekanec was at the end of the season for the Leafs, where he can't play bottom of the lineup. You got to give him something to do.
Yeah.
You got to give him a bigger role, and he exceeds in it.
There are players that rise to the occasion. If you believe what Mike Babcock said, and you had mentioned it earlier, there are people that perform better on a bigger stage.
Yep.
And Max Domi's one of them.
Yep.
You put him in a big market, he explodes. Put him in a small market, there's sometimes people thrive off that energy, and all the power to him.
It's amazing how often you hear, well, we don't know if he wants to play in the big spotlight. I think now it's a flashier generation of NHL player, and they want to play in the bigger markets. And they want the attention.
Why wouldn't you? There's more money.
There's more money. Yes, you get a coconut water deal in Toronto. Stuff like that.
Islanders captain.
Islanders captain. Yes, while he was the Islanders captain, He had a coconut water deal before he had a hockey night towel. That was crazy to find out 2 weeks ago or something.
Was his first hockey night towel?
His first hockey night towel. Guy's been in the show since 2009. That's crazy. It's John Tavares. Wow. Sorry.
Is that John? Now, I would say that's more like Hockey Night's fault than him.
Well, how many times have the Islanders been on Hockey
He
Night?
must have been on Hockey Night at least once.
Fault of any.
Okay, at least once, but like
Get Tavares!
someone else had a big game. Maybe he was hurt.
You're right. Let's put Anders Lee up. You're right. Let's talk to Josh Bailey.
Maybe it was someone they were doing a feature on. Don't speak ill of the company I work for there, Adam.
I'm just
Okay,
saying.
listen.
I think it's more of a
I work for them
coincidence,
too still.
Yeah, it's more of a coinkydink.
Yeah.
Yeah, how dare you?
Can
how dare
I
you?
can I interrupt to break a trade from the OHL?
Oh, I've got it. I've already got it too.
Sure.
Yeah, no, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
I looked at your screen. I can't read it. No glasses.
The Niagara Ice Dogs traded 11 draft picks to the Kingston Frontenacs. So Niagara pulled off a massive Buffalo trade, sending 11 draft to Kingston part of the deal. In return, Niagara acquired Jason Robertson and defenseman Jacob Paquette.
Okay.
And going back to Kingston are defenseman Billy Constantino and Ian Martin, as well as 11 draft picks. Do you want me to read them?
Please.
Yes.
Every single one.
Sarnia's second in 2019. Windsor's seventh in 2019. Windsor's third in 2020. This is the first one of their own pick. Niagara's 13th in 2020. Peterborough's second in 2021. Niagara's fifth in 2021. Niagara's 11th in 2021. Niagara's second in 2022. Kitchener's third in 2022. Niagara's second in 2023.
That's a child.
London's third in 2024.
That's a current child. An OHL draft pick, which they get drafted when they're 16?
Okay, I'm asking, what's the math on a 2024 draft pick? So
I think that's a 10-year-old.
You're 10 right now. Wow.
Or it might be your draft year. I can't remember if your draft year is when you're 15 or 16. It's either it's a 9 or a 10-year-old.
Just got traded today.
Some kid is, making macaroni pictures in 3rd grade or whatever. Actually, I think it's a little bit more evolved. I think I think they're doing long division.
I hope they're
In
not
the 3rd grade, huh?
They're doing long division with macaroni pictures. I desire macaroni pictures.
And your wife is a teacher.
She a kindergarten teacher though. That's why I went to
Macaroni pictures.
Still,
Yeah.
Still.
Some guy is learning long division today. And they just got traded. They don't even know it. They don't even know it yet.
That was fun.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Mike Hoffman made his return to Ottawa last night and dunked on the Senators hard. Not only in his pregame comments, which were they asked him obviously about what Pierre Dorion had said about the dressing room being broken, and he said, "Well, he's got to find a way. He's got to find an excuse to trade somebody." He said, which I mean, listen, we don't know what happened. I tend to believe that if you're going to get a restraining order against somebody, there might be some smoke where there's fire where there's some smoke. But
I mean,
I don't know.
the one weird thing about that story with Hoffman and Carlson is it doesn't sound like Hoffman did anything.
That wouldn't even have been him. No, it
No.
would have been somebody he's.
it would have
dating.
been his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right. But and I mean, we just don't know enough of what went on there.
We never will, and that's fine. But here's the thing: he calls out Dorian, saying he's got to blame someone for an excuse to trade him before the game, and then when it's 6-5, game's close, at the end of the game, he comes in, scores the game winner, which is a beautiful goal, and then, according to the Ottawa Senators, celebrated too much in front of their bench.
Well, they don't like him.
Mark Borowiecki, he said before the game, Mike Hoffman said before the game that if you were to go around the Ottawa dressing room and ask them how much of a problem he was, he's like, I still got a lot of friends there. There wasn't a lot of, I wasn't causing problems. Mark Borowiecki was a little bit ticked.
Head of PR, Mark Borowiecki?
Yes. Well, he's the only guy in
Team
the interviews.
spokesman?
You notice that? He's the only guy in the interviews.
Head of PR. Yep.
I look at him and because of his teeth, this is so bad, but because of his teeth, he does look like one of the mushrooms from Mario. Like a
Goomba?
A Goomba. He does. People are comparing them. Come on. Don't tell me you don't see that.
Skip.
So Mike Hoffman comes in and jumps on Mark Borowiecki's head, and the Senators lose. And it's not his fault. It's not Borowiecki's fault. But basically, what I laugh about, and this is the issue with the Senators, is their priorities are always so wrong. Like, you've got you've got somebody out there, I don't know who, coordinating a Twitter attack on the Ottawa Sun and the Ottawa Citizen, which are...
Did we not talk about that last
I
year?
don't know if we did
I think
or not.
we talked about the rumblings.
Yes, the rumblings. And then when they lose a game, it's not about the fact that they lost the game. It's not about the fact that they're angry about the fact that they could not prevent the goal that Mike Hoffman scored. They're mad about his celebration. Be mad that you lost.
That's
Be mad
hockey.
that you couldn't stop the goal. No, I hate that
That's
about hockey, though.
Like
Come on.
The toughest sport there is.
You
is the
deserve-
most sensitive about goal celebrations.
You deserve to be dunked on if that's your attitude, because your attitude's wrong.
I don't know if you deserve it, but I am glad.
Wow.
I don't know if well, also James Reimer won, so I was very happy about that.
well.
He had a rough game.
Hoffman has,
But
I
he won.
believe, was points in 14 straight games? 15 straight games?
I think it'd be 15 now.
And this
14 or 15. It's a franchise record.
been a hell of a pickup for Florida.
San Jose Sharks legend.
I wonder if he even got a jersey.
No.
No.
Mike Hoffman
It's not even enough time to print the jersey. It was like an hour later.
extends his NHL high point streak to 16 games.
Whoa.
9 goals, 10 assists. He's the 6th different player in NHL history with a point streak of 16 plus games in his first season with a new team. That's it's not a very important stat. But the first part was important.
He's the 6th guy to do a thing.
You know that scene in The Simpsons where every time Marge announces she's pregnant, Homer pulls out another part of his hair?
Yeah.
That's Pierre. Poor guy. Just poor guy.
Yeah. I wonder if they look at when... Because you know what's going to happen. Dorian will eventually be let go. You know what's going to happen.
What? Why?
Yeah, exactly. He'll fall afoul of Eugene Melnick somehow. And I wonder if people look at him and go, I'd bring him on my staff. And you know why I'd bring him on my staff? Because I know that he wasn't in full control in that situation. Almost like a Todd McLellan.
I don't know if he's going to get fired. I don't know if he's
What,
going
you
to
think
get
he
fired.
should be there forever?
Well, here's the problem. Well, okay, he might just, leave when his contract's up, or quit. I don't think he's going to quit. Why would he leave money on the table? But the issue is going to be, I don't think they're willing to pay whoever the next guy is. I don't think they are. They're going to have to. Who would go there? They're going to have to really think outside the box, and they're going to have to get a John Chayka type. I think part of the reason, Chayka got his job in Arizona because he put himself in a position to get that call. Also, he's cheap. He was cheap at the time. So you're going to have to really think outside the box for your next GM, because I don't think an established guy is going to do it.
Speaking of which, low key, Mike Futa has been thrown around again and again and again.
Absolutely not.
I wonder if Edmonton.
Edmonton.
I wonder if
sure.
Edmonton charges hard after him. But if I'm Mike Futa, I go, okay, then stay the hell out of my business.
That's interesting, because Futa's, I believe he's got a relationship with Hockey Canada. Interesting pick, Adam.
maybe
I like it.
Maybe he could go for the Bobby Nix burger in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Then
Oh
go
yeah.
for-
He
come
could go
on
for the
down for the Bobby Nix burger.
Which is just a cheeseburger.
Right.
No, but it's good. It's
But we're
made
not
by
going to use
Robert
that.
Nicholson.
We're not going to use that pancetta bacon. We're going to use the real thing. Remember, he forgoes pancetta bacon for some reason.
Yeah.
Because pancetta is somehow worse
Because
than
the chef was like, "Listen, I'm going to do this," and he's like, "No,
no,
no,
no. Go to the Costco bacon.
I am the Oilers' decision-making personified, chef. You will not do that, chef."
Trade him for a bag of maple smoked bacon from
Yeah.
generic brand from the United States.
You know that
Costco
fake
special.
bacon you put in salad? We want that.
The fake bacon.
Okay, wait, is the fake bacon right-handed? Well, we win the trade easily. Sorry. I couldn't help it. Why did we go back to the Oilers to beat up the Oilers? We didn't have to. All I'm saying,
bacon can be right-handed, but
Whatever, you fuck.
dumb fuck.
Dumb fuck, Adam.
All I'm saying is Adam has a good point with Mike Futa, and to steal him from LA and bring him to Edmonton more than makes up for the Gretzky trade. I'm just saying. It's perfect. It's perfect fit.
All right, hey, the Leafs beat Columbus in a comeback win, and obviously normally we would start with that, but there was a few other things that I think we needed to talk about first. Columbus really took it to Toronto in the first period.
God, I hate that hockey team.
They're a hateable team.
They are a hateable team, and that is the biggest compliment I could pay them. Blue Jackets fans, do not get your neck up about that. I love your hockey team. Like, if they were mine. But
I hate
they're not
them.
mine, so I hate them.
I hate them.
Yeah, I don't want to play them in the playoffs. That would suck.
The Leafs started to kind of come around in the second, and Tyler Ennis scored a great goal. And it's unfortunate that he scored it in this game because it was then directly outshadowed by something Mitch Marner did.
That's just going to be every game.
Yeah,
man.
like Tyler
Don't
Ennis.
wait for your moment. Just score.
Let's give Tyler Ennis his moment because Tyler Ennis deserves his moment. That was a great play.
Great goal. And, man, I pointed it out in the LFR video. Gauthier, greasy. He was so greasy on this play, and it wasn't graceful, and he did most of it with his feet and not his stick, but he battled and got Ennis that puck. Well, he battled to get the puck loose, and then Ennis did the rest. But, I mean, got to give him some credit. I don't know how many goals he's going to score, so I'm trying to find any
Who,
way.
Ennis?
No, Goat.
Oh, Goat. Yeah, I don't know about
Ennis
that
is
either.
going to score plenty of goals if he plays like that. Man, like
Apparently his scoring chances are way up. Considering the line he's on, he's produced really well.
the Leafs, this is the way. It's interesting that they're 15-6 when their depth has actually not been very productive up until recently. Because this was supposed to be their thing. Their thing was supposed to be ridiculous top two lines that teams were either going to get dominated by or just put all their resources towards, and then their third and fourth line was just going to be better than the other teams. And Ennis is certainly that dude. Brandon Dubinsky on that goal got schooled. I didn't know he was still on the Blue Jackets till I watched the highlights this morning.
Are you saying Brandon Dubinsky's not the player he was?
Not quite. Not quite. And Savard just sprawling on the ice on that goal. Just, man, Ennis is more skilled than your typical fourth liner. He's exactly the type of fourth liner the blogger boys, the computer boys, were screaming about in 2013. Instead of getting some knuckle dragger, face puncher, go out and take a chance on a skilled guy who might bag a few. And he's already got 3. He's on pace for, what, a 12-goal season? It's pretty good for a fourth liner.
And that Mitch Marner goal to tie it up before the second period
Tavares.
ended.
But
well,
I mean,
Mitch Marner.
But I mean,
yeah, Mitch
but I
Marner
mean-
set up. First off, I couldn't believe he didn't score, and then when he didn't, to have the wherewithal where he was to get that puck back to Tavares,
just to get his own rebound.
yeah, to get his own rebound, to
Yeah.
pass it back, that is something else.
Did you want to talk about what I talked to you about on the train here?
I think you should. I think you should talk about. You should bring
Steve,
it up.
did you see Luke Fox's piece on Marner and Tavares?
No.
It came out. I
Luke
think-
writes 9 things a day, so
Yeah,
I missed this
he
one.
does.
This came out today or last night, one or the other. But in there were quotes from Mark Hunter taking credit for drafting Mitch Marner.
In fairness, based on, okay, my instinct is to say, no, screw everything he did, Frederik forever. But also, the rumor is, it is his doing. The rumor is, Babcock was like, no, Werenski or Hannafin, and he said, screw you, we're taking the London guy.
Well, Justin Bourne was on Sportsnet
Probably
590
good
The
show.
Fan,
Yeah.
good show, and he disputes that rumor, and he was working for the team. You should check out that clip. I don't have it on me right now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You should check out that clip.
And this is
check out their
from-
podcast.
This is Mark Hunter in the article. He says, the mom, Bonnie, was 6 foot, so I knew he was going to get some more size. He was a guy that never... Anybody listening, Steve just made the face. He continued, he was a guy that never stopped getting better. I knew his makeup, I knew his desire. You have to improve. You have to keep getting better. You have to win. Mitch has some attributes that's important to any hockey club. We ended up winning a Memorial Cup in London. He'll just keep pushing here to win a Stanley Cup because that's what he's all about.
I had
That's
such
what
a
you
difficult
need.
time listening to the rest of that.
That's what you need when you're scouts. You have to find that inner desire. Through my instincts and watching him, I knew he'd just blossom. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Also, his mom was 6 foot tall.
Also, he had like over 100 points.
No, but his mom, I think that was the key to drafting Mitch Marner. His mom being 6 foot tall.
Marner, by the way, I don't know if he's even grown an inch since he was drafted.
No, he's the same damn size.
He's probably the same height on account of when you're drafted.
He's
You're
an- 18
and what?
Is he
what-
muscly
you
or
stop,
yeah?
You stop growing tall at like 20.
Yeah.
20 max.
20?
Max.
I stopped at like 15, man.
Oh, like 14 for me. That's all the caffeine and lifting weights.
And cigarettes.
Yeah.
Cigarettes and caffeine.
I had a hard teen time. I was what? Listen. No, his thing was he was skinny.
Yeah,
He had to put on weight on that 6-foot frame that he inherited from Bonnie. The article should have been called Bonnie in Size. You see, because it's like
Bonnie and Clyde.
It's a bit shoehorned.
Yeah.
Bit shoehorned in. Gonna have to get a shoehorn
Kinda like-
because he's gonna grow into it. He's gonna need bigger shoes because you see, his mom, she's very tall. Is what he's saying.
Shoehorned
And
in like the
therefore,
reason for drafting him?
See, the way genes work is you take after attributes of your parents.
Anyways, I saw that today and I stopped.
Work in hockey! You've got a shot! You've got a shot!
You can play.
Yeah.
Ken!
You can manage, actually. That's
Oh,
what that should be our hashtag. You can manage.
Playing is the hardest thing about hockey.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. Take it from me. I'm getting the impression that the management stuff, I think it can be learned.
Yeah.
I do find that very interesting. That
6 feet tall, Adam!
Did you write that on the report? Like it's like a little small, but his mom's got some
Bonnie.
height.
No, he writes Bonnie.
Bonnie's got some height.
No, we've spoken to
People.
team executives, and they really do talk about players like they're like racehorses.
Well, yeah, and they have to.
Look at how he
Yeah.
he's got room to grow. He's gonna get meat under here and he's like pointing at the ribs. Like that's a human being, sir or madam. It's hockey's weird, man.
That's-
if you want to work
that's what
in
it
it,
is.
I bet you could. Mark Hunter said you can. Are you gonna take that? Go do it.
Zack Hyman got his second goal of the season. I couldn't believe it was only his second.
And then third.
Because that line scores so much. But, I mean, what does he need to score for when the other two are doing so much?
Well, and he goes in there and forechecks, and Justin Bourne wrote defending him and was basically like,
Why are we
"Listen,
still defending Zack Hyman? We don't need to defend him. He's great. He's been great.
Yeah.
You know what? Listen, it's not necessarily because of him that this occurs, but for some reason, Zack Hyman always happens to be on the Leafs' best
His line scores a lot. Isn't that great?
Why mess with it?
Like, just enjoy it.
It's fine.
For crying out loud.
They're doing great. They're doing great. Don't complain.
Like-
Don't Mason Raymond Zack Hyman.
Oh, why is it Zack Hyman on that line? Put Patrick Marleau. And then they did that, and everyone started screaming, trade Patrick Marleau.
No, they put
I
him
know
back
it
with,
wasn't Marleau Matthews Willie.
They
but
put him back with Kadri though, and Marlowe looks good again. Yeah, and then I think Justin Fisher had the tweet of the night.
As always.
He said taking a 3-2 lead is nice, but watching John Tortorella yell at his players on the bench is the real prize.
Is he sick?
Torts?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why?
That's the second straight game. He's worn some weird, like, zippy vest under his suit
Is he
jacket.
sick? No, it's called style.
It doesn't. Is it?
Yeah,
Adam?
I've worn
I thought
those.
he was cold.
I've had that jacket. Yes.
You had a zippy jacket
Yeah,
under
so-
your
No,
suit
No, I'm
jacket.
pretty sure there's a reason for it. On the because I watched the other broadcast and they brought it up and I forget the reason for it.
Oh, come on.
Look it up.
No,
No,
way.
there's a thing.
There's
I'll
something
I
check
on
had a
foot.
jacket that looks exactly
You
like
had
that.
a zipper vest.
It's not a vest. It's not a vest. So what it does is it attaches. It's supposed to
It looks
look
like one of those hockey jumpers.
It looks like you're wearing somewhat of a vest underneath. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's actually attached to the jacket. You're not supposed to do it up, but it's supposed to have that layered look. You're supposed to have a layer. I wore it on BT. I wore it on BT many times. It's a layered look. You want to have a few zippers, basically. Style. It makes sense.
Platinum.
So he zipped it up.
Platinum zippers.
He zipped it up when you're not necessarily supposed to in that. But that is actually attached to the inside of his jacket. It's not a separate
Diamond
thing.
buttons.
I saw that too. I'm just saying I noticed. It was kind of funny too. After Hyman scores hit for the second time, he outmuscles his way to the net, scores that goal. He earned that empty net goal.
He did. Well, also it was what the Leafs should have been benefiting from when they were 5-5 at home. Now they're 6-5. They're finally one game above 500. First place in the East. It's ridiculous. It was a defensive zone draw for Columbus. Their fourth line against the Leafs top line. And I think the reason he blew a gasket is what were they doing on this play? Lucas Sedlak, or not Lucas Sedlak.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that goal, but yeah, let's talk
you
about that
weren't?
goal.
Oh, I'm
Let's talk-
sorry.
You're talking about the 3-2 goal. I was talking about the 4-2. But let's talk about the
my bad.
Let's talk about the 3-2 goal.
Well, it was Riley Nash attacking the point and going into the butterfly in the high slot to block Riley. There's two Blue Jackets who are covering no one. David Savard, who is the only person who picks up on what's happening, and he goes to get Hyman and then realizes Tavares is crashing too.
What did he call it? Amateur? Or
I didn't hear his quotes.
Oh, his quote was good.
I'm sure it was wonderful.
My favorite part of that game, I'm standing at ice level last night, and the game's ending, and Hyman has already scored the other empty netter. Or sorry, the one empty netter. Hainsey almost scored another one.
Yeah.
But what was great about that is with a minute left, it's 4-2. John Tortorella still calls the timeout.
And
berates his team.
pulled his goalie.
And pulled his goalie.
Hey, he's sending a message. He's trying to listen. You didn't work, and now it's 4-2. I'm going to make you work to see if you can tie the game. What's the worst that can happen?
I know.
Why wouldn't he? What if they tie it? I know they're probably not gonna.
Game's over. He calls a timeout just because. I just thought it was like, oh, come on.
That's torts.
That is the most torts move you. I don't fault him for it, but it's also a little bit like, yo.
I love it. Also, listen, I'll be a little cynical here. He's in Toronto. Got to look like you're doing something. Got to make a big show of it.
Oh, really? You think so?
Oh, Torts knows how to play the media. He was in the game for a while until he decided he was above it, and then went back to being a coach that was constantly screaming at the media. I wonder if part of it was he had to make a big show. Had to make a big show. We're talking about it today, aren't we?
We are. I think we also need to mention the play of Freddie Andersen, who honestly he was the first star last night.
He's the best goalie in the NHL this season so far. Prove me wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Changed my mind.
Yeah, changed my mind. Look at the record. Look at the save percentage.
There are people in Anaheim who might say John Gibson.
Maybe he's in the conversation though. Like if you had to do the Vezina right now, he's nominated.
Has to be.
Has to be.
Although it's funny, I've thought last year he might need to be nominated for it. At least
I
nominated.
think he almost was. Wasn't he fourth?
Something
He's
like
fourth
that.
or fifth in voting.
That's not nominated.
It's not nominated, but it's close. Sorry, the door's stiff. Hi, Jesse.
It's okay. It's okay. Just keep going.
No.
No one can hear it.
Yeah,
no one
but
knows
no.
what's going on. You don't need to acknowledge
thought
that.
I did that very
Just
well.
move
Breaking
on.
the fourth wall.
Just move on,
behind
man.
the
I had to
scenes.
pee.
Pee.
Yeah.
You dumb fuck. Sorry.
Enjoying the pee, dumb fuck.
The title of this
Hitchcock.
episode is
No, it was Impressmonton.
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 Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Huh? Tortorella.
Freddie.
He's silly, isn't
I'm
he?
talking about Freddie.
Oh, yeah, Freddie.
No, but
he beat Tortorella
You said you think he's the best goalie in the league this year?
so far.
All right.
There's a pretty solid argument for it.
Not sure if you saw much of the Canadiens Caps game last night, but there were two real highlights. Ovi high-fiving
God.
Carey Price after Carey Price
Made a
robbed
Carey
him.
Price save.
Yeah,
You got
sure.
a standing ovation, too.
He did. And rightfully
Should've.
so.
Should've.
The next part, which I loved, was Lars Eller, who, by the way, didn't leave Montreal because he wanted to. He was traded to Washington for 2 second-round picks. Canadiens fans were booing him in overtime. 15 seconds later, he goes end-to-end and scores.
Good. No, and listen, Habs fans, I actually have a very good relationship with Habs fans for a Leafs fan, but they're feeling themselves a little bit this year.
Well, let them.
Let them. But I'm noticing two flavors.
The Grant McCagg.
No. Well, I wouldn't know. I think he blocked me.
Wow, you managed to get him to block you?
I
That's
don't know.
amazing.
No, Jack Todd blocked me for sure. But there's two flavors, and this is the opposite of what I expected. And please, neither of you take it the wrong way. But Canucks fans are still in this haze of, we're surprised this is happening.
Yeah.
Isn't this silly? This is kind of fun. I'm going to enjoy this while it lasts. Pedersen's great. Yeah, Goldie getting some points. Let's do a shotgun every time Jake Virtanen scores a goal. Let's just have some fun.
Right.
The Habs were like that. They are. They're shotgunning beers every time he scores. They're going to mess around. Like, I thought my Clark MacArthur bet would be good for 5 or 6 goals that he'd score that season. And then I had to do it 20-plus times.
He scored 30 goals, didn't he?
He had a crazy season. And I think there's going to be a lot of hangovers in Vancouver because Virtanen's having a great time.
Every video.
Oh, my God. Oh, brutal. It got him to notice me.
Sure did.
Got him to notice me. But in Montreal, I think it was a little bit gosh gee willikers for like the first 3 weeks maybe. And now they're like, and you said we'd suck. You said you'd suck. Don't look at everyone else like we're in the wrong. You were too.
Yeah, everybody thought you would suck. Montreal.
Everyone
Come
thought
on.
you would suck. What the? Oh, you knew Max Domi would be this good. And Tatar. I don't even know what that accent is.
I think that's a part of. I think he just made that up. Like, I don't think that's a French Canadian accent.
No, I think it's drunk. Ta-ta! I
Drunk,
like the thing
but
he
with
did
season
on.
tickets.
I like the thing he did on Tim and Sid,
Oh,
where he was.
he had to pronounce things that were.
Well, yeah, he had a list on his phone, and they kept putting a picture next to his head, and they put up Sid Sixero's head, and he goes, "Chicken finger." I love that, but no, Habs fans they're feeling themselves a little bit. They're getting a little cocky,
let 'em.
which is fine and fun, but I don't think they would. Instead of booing Lars Eller, if things were going poorly the way they expected them to, they'd be taking to Twitter and going, Bergevin should have never traded him. Scored the Stanley Cup winning goal. They had it all prepared.
I bet it's somewhere in Andrew Berkshire's discarded tweets.
Oh no, it's not. He did no.
Save
It's
draft.
in his tweets.
It's
No,
in
he
his
just
tweets.
tweeted it. He's not a Habs fan anymore, Adam. Didn't you know that?
That's right.
He's not.
He's definitely not.
He's not. Certainly not.
I remember that last season.
Certainly not.
No,
If they win the cup, it's gonna be nothing to him. He'll be writing an article about Minnesota's second pair.
Oh.
Yeah, for sure.
Is Matt Dumba number one RHD the day the Habs win the cup?
That's what I
What
want
about Jonas Brodin?
Yeah.
Also a fun name.
They have a goalie who's tearing up the AHL right now, and his name is Kakkonen. And all I want is his success. Because it's so funny.
What if they trade him to Edmonton and then they're hitched to Cox? No?
But then you'd have Koskinen and Kokkonen.
And there's a player who's projected to go second overall, Capo Kako.
I love that. What a great name. That's...
Would he be the top Kappa?
Stop it. By the way, did you see Jesperi Kotkaniemi's comments about Elias Pettersson?
No.
He was like, I think he said something along the lines of...
He's good.
Yeah, he's okay. It's like nothing spectacular. And I think he was being sarcastic, but then people took it and they put it online, and people were like, "Get out of here! You only have 4 goals and he's got 15. You're terrible."
Yeah, no, it was hockey player sarcasm. He just said it really dry and
Finnish hockey player sarcasm.
Yes.
It wasn't I think it wasn't like super cheeky, but he just said it dryly.
You
as
couldn't
sarcasm.
read it. You have to see his face. I don't think Patterson is special. Slight Mona Lisa smile.
Exactly.
Oh man, there were people like
tweet that.
people were like most overhyped Hab in history, bud.
What?
Yeah.
Bud?
Bad.
You know, he was like, I'm going to put Bud to drive the point home. I don't like you. I get a lot of tweets that say Bud. That's why. That's how I know.
It's usually, it's funny. It can be a term of extreme endearment or extreme sarcasm, and in a bad way. Like in a, hey, you're
Depends
an
on the pitch.
I love you, bud.
I love you, Bud.
That's cool. And then it's
Bud.
and then yeah.
Yeah. It's if it's
Nice tweet, bud.
But ooh,
That's what I mean. That can be the extreme, like
landing the D.
that's dropping an FU without dropping an FU.
Hey, Bud. Hey, Chief. You ever get that? Hey, big guy. I get big guy.
Brother. I actually call everyone brother.
Brother is when you're like pleading. You're like, brother.
Really?
I don't know.
Or if you're stuck in like 3 generations.
Or that.
Yeah, listen. I got it from the Hulk and it never left.
I feel like that's what happened.
That's what happened.
Listen, brother.
I will continue.
I didn't like your tweet, brother. I need some major oil, brother. Love that Hogan tweet. Oh my God, Twitter's such a silly place. Why is it allowed? It shouldn't
All right,
be.
let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Want to see if anything else is broken?
While Jesse is looking for that, I hope Kakaniemi says more things about Vancouver Canucks players. Because we need as much inter-Canadian team wars as possible. It just makes hockey more interesting. And Vancouver, Montreal, when was their last tiff? I can't think of one. So let's have it. Get mad at each other.
Did you see that darts has a farting controversy?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Okay, you'll have to explain this one.
Ah.
What is controversial about passing wind?
Scottish dart player Gary Andersen defeated Dutchman Wellesley Harms 10-2 to earn a spot in the quarterfinals of the Grand Slam of Darts. But the match was not without a whiff of controversy. In a post-match interview,
That's cheeky.
Harms claimed that he wasn't able to play to the best of his abilities because there was a terrible smell on stage that likely came from the posterior of his opponent. He said Andersen left a fragrant smell behind and that it will take him 2 nights to lose the smell from my nose.
Well, I'm sure the crowd was aghast. You see, because we should have ended the show 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, we should have. Okay, so here's the thing. Every other sport, except for darts, where I assume they just have bad BO anyway, let's be honest, they're not top quality athletes.
Hey.
Every other sport, you have to deal with bad smells from people. Whether it's, I don't think in hockey you're dealing with much farting, but you're probably dealing with some smelly equipment.
If you have a ticket in the first 10, 15 rows, you smell the teams.
If you've ever watched a basketball game and the way those guys sweat, and then they have to jump into each other,
They have to mop the floor.
they probably smell a little bit too. Grow up and get over it. You lost.
Yeah.
And if you can't win because of a fart, then you can't win, man.
Maybe
you didn't win.
You think he was just being silly? Yeah, are we?
Doesn't sound like it from that language.
The best
he
part
is
of the whole thing
Nordic, though.
is the post-interview where they asked the guy if he was farting. And I wish we could play it, but we don't have our audio set up.
What do you say?
And
He said in Scottish that he did not.
I'll read the article. It says, you can see the look of frustration build in Andersen's eyes as the interviewer continues to press him about the possibility of his past gas. He thought that swearing on his children's life and some self-deprecation about shitting himself when he farts would get him out of this hot wind. But like any good journalist, the interviewer kept pushing. Andersen's cracks definitely started to show near the end of the clip when he got into the details of where the smell specifically was coming from and what it smelled like. Details that probably should have been given within the first couple questions about the dart fart. Anyways.
Who wrote this?
It's from Deadspin.
Someone got paid to write that.
Deadspin just goofing off.
Follow your dreams.
Anyways, I thought I'd let you guys know.
Look at you and the audacity you have not following your dreams. Someone got paid to write that. You go out and you follow them right now.
Did you see the Deadspin picture of the guy who owns the Raiders yesterday? Where he's got the worst haircut in the world, but he's wearing an all-white suit with a white T-shirt underneath it and sunglasses.
Like if Voldemort possessed Ron.
Yeah.
Like, what
That's
on
exactly.
earth? What was that?
Does he need... He knows he doesn't need to have that haircut, right? He must know.
Nah, when you're worth $1 billion, you can have whatever haircut you want.
Is he just testing the world to be like, I bet I can still do well.
For 25 years or whatever.
It's crazy, man.
He really does.
It is the
when
worst
you're in
haircut.
Slytherin and Gryffindor at the same time, like, yeah, he's what a ridiculous human being.
We need to do our November Stanley Cup picks.
Ooh, Leafs.
What do we got?
Write it down. Damn it.
Don't have,
Leafs.
hurt my ear.
What are the Western Conference standings? I know Nashville's in first in the league.
Oh, PK went down last Thursday, not last night.
He did.
Not last night.
Yo, I'm going to throw this out there. Ooh, interesting. It's interesting because I think inevitably in the West, there's going to be another second round war between the Preds and Jets.
That'll be fun. That'll be a great series.
Really, really good series. But it's possible. Now, if Calgary gets goaltending, they're going to be right in there. But it's possible, despite the fact that they're only second in the Pacific right now, San Jose could have a little tea party through the first couple rounds. Make it to the third fresh as a daisy. Could do some damage. I'm going to say Leafs, Jets. Leafs, Jets. Stanley Cup final.
That was my pick last month, I think.
It's mine now, so it's better.
I'm going to say Leafs Nashville.
Leafs, Schville. Interesting.
The correct answer is San Jose, Tampa.
Whoa.
San Jose,
Also not a bad pick.
Tampa.
Especially when Vasilevsky's back. That'll change things.
Yeah, so he's injured now. We didn't talk about Patrice Bergeron.
Oh, yeah.
Is supposedly out 4 weeks. Shoulder injury, and it said sternoclavicle.
Justin Bourne said, I got one of those back in 2008, and it only stopped hurting him yesterday, the day before.
Well, it was interesting. I Googled it because I don't know what the hell that means. And I started feeling around on like my collarbone area, and I'm like, oh, that's the thing I just heard, I'm pretty sure. And it sucks. Yeah, and no, let me tell you, it has not gone away.
How is Patrice Bergeron still playing at the level he's playing at, given the injuries he's had?
Dude, and
that's amazing.
The injuries he's known for are what he incurred in the 2013 playoff run.
Punctured lung.
Dude, he
With
missed
a punctured lung.
He played. Yeah, ridiculous. Could have killed himself. He played. Didn't he miss like a year with a concussion?
I don't know.
Like at the very beginning of his career, he got mangled with a ridiculous hit into the end boards when he was either a rookie or sophomore, and it was a wonder if like he'd even have a career in this league. Now, of course, he's like the best two-way center in the game. Man, that's a guy who might play and be good, done.
Yeah.
Like a guy who might.
It's almost like what's happened with Backus, right? He's kind of fallen off a little.
No, I'm not talking about done like he's awful. If he ever gets awful, he won't be awful for long. I think he'll just gracefully be like, you know what?
Time.
It's time. I can still play. I'm done. Yep.
He's won his cups. He's got his money.
Yeah, man. Like, take your health. And I mean, sternoclavicle, it's a shoulder, whatever. But I mean, punctured lung, concussion.
Even last year in the playoffs against the Leafs, he had to sit out a game.
He missed a game. That's right.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty serious if he's sitting out a game. I don't know what was
playoff game.
I don't know what ended up being the issue there.
I don't remember either.
We haven't had one of these in a while. This is from Tombo Breaker. He says, "Why do we call them cookies when we bake them?"
Bakies.
He says, "Shouldn't they be called bakies? You don't cook your cookies. You bake them."
Here's how to kill a segment. Yes. They should be called bakies. You got it. You got it.
How do we make that happen? How do we change internationally the name of cookies?
You start here and you start a movement, a revolution.
What if the rough translation in every language is bakies, and we're just the silly ones?
That
wouldn't be the first time. English is a
What
very
is-
silly
We're the
language.
only ones who call it Greenland.
What is cookies in French?
Yummy. I don't know. The coffee was good. It has since worn off. All those tweets
I'm
from
in
Edmonton were
Westmonton.
right
by that
What is this?
comment.
Yummy.
Yummy.
I don't know what they are. Biscuit. It's biscuits, isn't it? I think it's biscuit. Yeah,
Biscuit?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Which we have
it's-
adopted into English, but it is really a French word.
It's great, man.
And that happened because the French invaded in the 10th
There
century.
it is. There it is.
And they brought a lot of words with them.
I'm impressed that
And-
you know that.
I was right!
Biscuits.
Also, there's a lot of French families that came over to England in the French Revolution. My ancestor is one of them. They were the Claremont family, and they changed their name to Montclair.
Whoa.
That's right.
How French of them. Just doing it
Well,
backwards.
they wanted to be, Montclair, not Clermont.
Clermont.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I got you.
What language is that?
Where did you find this?
Japanese.
Japanese. One of the symbols appears to be a smile.
That's
of some
cool.
sort.
I like it. I also smile when I eat cookies.
It's very appropriate.
Or biscuits.
If anybody speaks Japanese, I don't know how you would let us know how to pronounce it. But apparently there's a smiley face in there. It looks
Send
like
us an audio file. That's what we remember. We struggled with Casimir Kaskisuo's name. And
Somebody sent us an audio file, yeah.
Yeah, here's how you say it.
I know that there is somebody listening to this show that speaks fluent Japanese. We literally can find it. Whenever we need a subject covered, there's somebody who knows. It's amazing.
I know for a fact we have listeners in Japan.
That's cool.
We do.
my favorite thing in the world, trivia. This is from Mick Ian Freeney. They want to know, who are the only 3 individuals in NHL history to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame and continued their careers after being inducted?
Gordie Howe.
Wait, players?
So I'm going to say there's only 2 individuals because the third one they included was Gary Bettman, who technically was inducted last week and is continuing his career. But I'm going to say
Gordie
2
Howe
players.
and Scotty Bowman.
Well,
Players. They're players.
Yes.
Okay, never mind. Not Scotty
maybe
Bowman.
Gordie Howe.
Gordie Howe for sure.
I'm not even sure about that.
Who's the other one? Gordie Howe's correct. Who's the other guy?
Guy Lafleur.
Guy Lafleur, because didn't he have like a layoff?
He did. Yeah, and then he came back and played for the Rangers
Shoot, I
and the
think he might just
Nordiques.
have it. Because like I know Glenn Sather, I'm pretty sure.
But was he a
Lou
player?
Lamoriello. I think he was a player.
No,
but-
these are players.
No, he
These are
went in
players.
as a manager.
No, these are players. These are players. Both are players.
2 guys.
I think you're right. I think Adam's right.
Adam is incorrect.
Ah.
It is Mario
As
Lemieux.
always, idiot.
Mario Lemieux.
Mario was inducted in 97.
That makes sense because he retired and they inducted him and then he came back.
Yep.
Really?
And played till like 2006 because he's freaking Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
So he played like 9 years.
He's so obnoxious.
After-
He's so obnoxiously good too.
Hold on, let's check
Yeah.
his DB.
And his first game back was against the Leafs.
And he played with. That's how
And he scored.
crazy this is. He played with Crosby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mario Lemieux was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1997 and played until 2006.
He's one of my favorite. When I was doing those
Wow.
era adjusted pieces, Mario Lemieux was a monster. Certified. Do not argue. He was top 5, maybe the best player to ever play. Maybe better than Gretzky. Seriously, he was amazing.
In 2000, 2001, Lemieux's first year back after those 3 seasons off, in 43 games, how many points did he have?
He was close to the NHL lead. It was like 60 something, 60, 70 something.
No, I want to say 77.
76.
Whoa! Hey, who did he score his first goal
I wrote
against?
an article last year.
I have no idea.
Who? Sorry,
Who did he score his first goal back against?
it was against the Leafs.
Yeah, a 5-0 win. I remember watching it at my grandfather's house around Christmas.
Yep, I remember.
Final question.
Had to be the Leafs.
Final question.
Couldn't be any other way. And it was like
has to
December
be. Yeah.
or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a random regular season game. By the way, I'm coming back.
From Miller Time, 1997. I guess all the other Miller Times were taken. If you could go back in time as yourself,
97 was a good year. Detroit's first cup in a while.
Yeah.
It's a good year. They got their revenge against
big
the
time
Avalanche.
for Miller.
Yeah, that's what I was drinking.
That's the
97.
damn question.
Listen to the Spice Girls. It's good.
If you
First
could go
album
back
was hot.
in time as yourself from 2018 present day, what would you say to yourself the 2000
In Miller time, 1997. Bill.
the 2009 to 2015 Leaf fan?
Ooh.
So you're a Leaf fan who's lived through.
Okay, which part of that era are we in?
I guess so.
have to be 2009.
You go back to yourself to 2015. So I guess you've lived through all that.
Hold on. Okay, no. If I'm starting,
how you wanna do that,
If I'm
or-
going back to 2009,
It had to be 2009.
I would say-
2015 is too recent.
So you want to go back to each of your years self, Leaf fan? We could direct this question however we want.
just moving my butt around because it's numb.
You're no longer facing the camera, by the way.
I know it's whatever.
Are you doing like an artsy soliloquy? No. Right now, it looks like it with the
I
lights
got a
on
one-man
you.
play playing in Oshawa. It's
Yeah.
silent. There are no words, but there's so much passion.
The wild monologues.
Wild thoughts.
No.
Wow, wow, wow.
You've had better.
Wow.
I think personally,
Holy shit, does he think it? He's standing up.
I would forget.
You are out of frame.
That's okay.
You're the worst.
I know. But does it really matter? They've seen me for the last hour and a half. They know what I look like. I think, honestly, if it's 2009, I'd be like, yeah, forget about it for the next 7 years. Just enjoy the good moments when they come and just understand that the help is coming, but it's a long, long way off. So just focus on you, get your career together, sharpen your skills. You might start a podcast eventually. Might want to get ready for that.
I think it'd just be like, by the way, here's what's wrong with your back and how to fix it.
Yeah.
That's what I would do if I were you. Man, the Leafs, I'd just be like, listen.
Don't get too attached.
Don't get too attached. Yeah. Don't buy a jersey. And if you do, put your own name on it. Jeez, like, what do you, it's not encouraging. Like, do you think I'm going to go back in time and have words of encouragement? Hey, wait 9 years. And they'll be poised to finally win a playoff round? Like,
Which they still haven't done.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what am I really going to go back and do? Hey, you know what? Suffer through this for 9 years, and they'll be second in the league in November. What's the payoff? Look, I'm happy they're doing good, too.
That's so depressing.
And I know!
We haven't had that moment yet where that question
I'd
makes
be
a
like,
lot of
that
sense.
doesn't help at all.
Yeah. That question, I mean, it's a good question, but I don't think we've had that moment where we can go back with a positive answer.
Yeah. Did you ever imagine it would be like this on a November 21st?
Second place in the league.
Did you ever?
Coming off a 7-game heartbreaking loss to Boston.
I couldn't give myself
Again.
Leafs advice. It'd have to be like life advice. Like, yeah, you're back. Marry her. Hey, dogs are pretty cool. 2009, I was still afraid of dogs.
Your house is going to leak.
Yeah, your
That
house,
doesn't
yeah.
I don't think that's allowed in this scenario. You can only go back and talk about Leafs things. It cuts you off.
Ian White will not be the next captain. Hot take.
You know what? Yeah. Kadri was a good pick. Trust me, Kadri was a good pick. That's what I would say. Hey, the Leafs did end up picking first. Is what I'll say.
In the Morgan Riley draft.
No.
No, Nick, we haven't quite.
John Tavares was taken first in 2009.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we're done.
We're getting goofy.
That was a good one.
We've been done. Oh, yeah, now we're getting goofy? You dumb.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.